wheelchair, and so I had to carry her upstairs from downstairs. And she's humongous, so that's not something I could leave to my wife, so I had to step away for a minute. So I'm back. Oh. Man, I tell you, I was not expecting to be doing so much talking, but that's awesome. It's been a pretty good conversation. Bogos, I appreciate you coming in today, bro. This has been a good. This is good, and I'm learned a little bit about Canada today too. That's, dumb American. I'm trying to learn about the world a little bit without having to, go out there. Not against Canada. I'd probably go to Canada. My buddies went to Toronto for a Radiohead concert some fucking years ago. So that's cool. You got to get a passport and all this extra shit. You've lasted a lot longer than most other politics streamers. I'm banned by half the politics. Well, yeah, I mean, some people get uncomfortable with opposition to their views. I welcome opposition. My thing is this, Bogos. I'm not trying to tell everybody how things should be. I do have my beliefs, but I'm interested in truth. I'm trying to get to the bottom of the truth of a lot of things, not just politics, life, spirituality, metaphysics, all this crazy shit. So in this endeavor, you have to soften yourself a little to opposition and accept that other people have different viewpoints, and that's okay. It's variety is the spice of life. They call a centrist like me a Nazi if I support ICE or oppose trans ideology. I've been banned for disagreeing about income tax. I take it as a badge of honor. Yeah, bro. Those. The way I put that is this. I say, if Satan, you ever see Little Nicky? Remember at the end when Adrian sits on the throne and hell comes to earth? If Satan ever came up to earth like that and pointed at me and said, that guy's an asshole, I wouldn't waste a single breath arguing with him, because if you're dumb enough to agree with Satan, then you deserve to be stupid in that way. You know what I mean? It's like you said, a badge of honor to be hated by the right people. I would prefer people didn't hate me, but there are a lot of people that have built their identity on a political philosophy that they did not think up on their own. And so when you challenge it and they don't have answers for it because they never stopped to think it through, it's an attack on their personhood, and they take that personally. I mean, if anybody can show me where I'm wrong, I'm open to learning. I'm open to growing. I'm seeking the truth above being right. Who cares if I'm right? Fucking what's his face from Pennsylvania? Nobody gives a shit about that. I could be right till I'm blue in the face, But for my personal integrity, I'm seeking the truth and looking for answers. And so in that respect, it's you have to be open to different opinions and different ideas, or else how can you get to the truth when you don't start with it? Then the only right-wing streamers I can ever find on Twitch are like super religious nuts who try to justify things like slavery. Yeah, bro, the extremists. This is the great consolidation happening. These extreme fringe units of the party are weaseling their way into the media. And look, I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Sometimes somebody says something and it's like, I don't agree with that person 99.9% of the time, but I'll be honest when I do agree with them. Unlike the TDS lot that are like, they say no kings, and then they got a problem with Trump taking this dictator out in Venezuela. It's like, make it make sense. What is the foundation you're building your values and opinions on? Or were you just given them by somebody who said, hey, this is good, it'll make you feel good to believe this, and you bought it? You know what I mean? But yeah, do you get this? Do you get the impression that I'm more right wing because I'm not a progressive? Because I get curious about how that gets portrayed, because I've been called a Nazi too. I've been called a bootlicker. So I don't understand how you can say that to somebody with my beliefs, unless you're just so blinded by your own. I think Trump governing through executive orders is pretty dictatorial. Yeah, for some of the things, yeah, definitely. Definitely for some of the things, but he can only do executive orders that are constitutional, because otherwise it's going to go through the courts and be stricken down. Like they struck his tariffs down and he had to go a different route to apply the tariffs again. Like going to war without congressional approval. Well, the president does have that power. The president does have that power, and Obama did it too with Libya. So it's not that's not the unprecedented power grab by the executive branch. Let's say there's precedent here, recent precedent. You know, you know what I mean. But also, not for nothing, you know, my profile online used to say under politics, back before on Facebook, it used to be you could put anything in there. Now it's a checkbox. You can only check certain boxes. But back in the day before, when you could put anything in there, my quote was, I could fix everything with unchecked executive authority. You know, now I'm obviously the hubris of youth. You know what I mean? But I think you need a strong leadership. You need somebody who's going to do a thing and take the blowback for the thing, you know? When I mention these things to right-wing streamers, they bring up shit like the president during World War II, making more executive orders as if that's some kind of justification. Like, okay, he has done the most executive orders since World War II. That's still not good if you believe in democracy. I don't believe in democracy. I as an aside, I don't believe in democracy. I don't think that everybody's opinion matters, and I don't think we need to hear from a lot of people. You know what I mean? Now, that said, you know, I'm not on board with the president just governing through executive orders either. You know what I mean? Like the means is as important as the ends. But also, at the same time, he has his ends he's trying to get to. You know? So, do I like these executive orders? I like the tariffs. I think he's well within the power of the office to do the tariffs. I think he's within the power of his office to do what he's doing in Iran as well. That is 100% presidential power. But at the same time, I don't like war. I don't want him doing that. I want him to wrap it up and get out of there without entangling us any further. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm not going to mention what was going on during World War II because it's a totally different context. We're not in a world war. It's all good when they're making orders you agree with. You wouldn't want someone having that power when they're doing things you don't like. Exactly. I 1,000,000% agree with you. But the thing is, if the tool is there to be used, they're going to use the tool. You know? DJ came to crash the party. What's up, DJ? We were having a great discussion today, bro. We're talking a little UK politics, Canada politics, American politics. Saying fuck the Democrats. Not really. I was saying that. But you know I was going to say that. Only just finished work. Well. You still chefing it up out there, bro? Or did you find something else you've been doing? Fuck Labor Party. Which one's Labor Party? Which one's Labor Party? Why'd you put that U in there, bro? You don't need a U for that word. Try and make English French. Put these silent ass letters in the words. I gotta figure if the party's called Labor Party, that's gotta be the right wingers, right? Oh, well, no. Oh, God. Our current party. Hey. Wow, that's a wild one. They're the left wing who are pro-union, etc. I see. So they're called the Labor Party because they're representing, being for the working man. That's kind of, it was like a tongue-in-cheek thing because they make the joke over here that liberals don't work. So traditionally left-wing, but they're controlled by neolibs at the moment. Listen, neoliberals they're not all as bad. Like Mamdani, we were talking about this earlier. Mamdani's state-run grocery store is a neoliberal solution. Okay? The only knock that people have against neoliberals is that they're expecting liberals to be anti-capitalists, and neoliberals are capitalists. No, it's bad. Well, listen, look, I'm not going to vote for a neoliberal. I mean, I guess maybe, depending on what the options are. I'd say state-run grocery stores is pretty radical left. Well, here's what makes it left-wing. When he said it will operate without a profit motive, that makes it left-wing because that's basically just communism. But if the government needs revenue streams to fund its programs and its expenditures, and there's the easy way for them to do that is to put a gun in your face and say, pay me fucking taxes or you're going to jail. Okay. And so that's what they usually do. What I think would be interesting is if they were to enter the marketplace, kind of like the idea behind the public option in America, right? A government supplied option that the profits for which can then be redistributed in a way that helps the community. But if you're looking at the state-run grocery store as it's not going to operate as a profit, and that's going to fail. That's not even like a business has to make a profit or it will not succeed unless you're heavily subsidized by the government, in which case an unsuccessful business subsidized by the government just becomes a black hole for tax dollars. So that, in my opinion, it would be beneficial for the government to pursue more novel ideas for revenue streams. And I'm not all the way against something like that, but it has to be run adequately. You can't say we're going to run it without a profit motive, because that's just outside of, that makes it fantasy land. Like, literally, Labor Party is so unpopular at the moment that they lost a by-election in one of their most safest seats and came in third place. Oh, so people had enough of the Labor Party, huh? So they're catching some. As a Trump-supporting American who claims we left-wing, do you support gun rights across the board? What do you mean by across the board? What's his face? The socialism era. Listen, bro, I'm ideas over ideology. I'm an independent. Okay, I like creative problem solving, like no background check, etc. I don't like no background check. No, I don't like that. There's some people we don't need to have a gun. If you're like a woman beater or, a twice convicted violent offender, I'm not so sure you need a gun. No limits on magazine sizes or the ability to fire. Yeah, I don't think that you need to get into regulating that. I mean, most gun owners are responsible, so you don't really have to get into that. If you want a 70 round drum on your AR, that's cool. Yeah, fucking go for it, bro. It's America. Enjoy. Fuck yeah. I'm cool with that. Because if you have background checks and you're making sure that the wrong people don't get guns, then the only people that's going to have that 70 round drum mostly are the responsible gun owners. But yeah, the Green Party ended up winning the seat. See, now the Green Party in America is a third party, but they're the left-wing third party. Is the Green Party their left-wing? What do you think about the gun rights, Bogos? Do you think there should be some limitations? See, I'm Canadian conservative, but not for having guns like in the USA, just because of the stats about how many people die in the USA from guns. Now, look closer at those stats. Most of those deaths are self-inflicted. They're mostly suicides. When you take those out, the numbers go way down.